Every story we tell is a journey, a thrilling adventure that will keep you hooked from start to finish. Before we begin, let us know where you're watching from. We love seeing our community come together from all around the world. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Tomorrow, we have a special story just for you. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. See you on the next adventure. The cutest royal guard moment you'll ever see. Buckingham Palace was buzzing with excitement. Tourists from around the world gathered in front of the majestic gates, snapping photos, chatting, and marveling at the legendary royal guards standing motionless in their striking red uniforms and towering black hats. Among the crowd was 5-year-old Lily, a little girl with big, curious eyes, tightly holding onto her mother's hand. She had been excited about this day for weeks. Ever since her parents told her they were visiting London, she had dreamed of seeing the famous royal guards in person. And most importantly, she wanted to take a picture standing beside one. But now that she was actually here, standing just a few feet away from a tall, stoic soldier, Lily wasn't so sure anymore. Her tiny fingers clutched her mother's tighter as she stared up at the unshakable guard. He was so tall, so serious, so still. Not a blink, not a twitch. He stood like a statue, rifle at his side, eyes locked straight ahead. Lily's heart pounded. Her father knelt beside her, offering a warm smile. "Go on, sweetheart. Just stand next to him for a second. I'll take a quick picture, and then we can go get some ice cream." Lily hesitated. She wanted that picture. She had told all her friends back home that she would stand next to a real-life royal guard. But something about how still he was made her nervous. Her mother bent down, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "It's okay, love. He won't move, I promise. He's just doing his job." But that was exactly the problem. He wouldn't move. He wouldn't blink. It was almost like he wasn't even real. Lily took half a step forward, then immediately froze again. The crowd around them had begun to notice the moment, smiling at the little girl's hesitation. A kind older woman nearby whispered, "Oh, poor thing. She's scared." A few other tourists chuckled softly, watching as Lily peeked out from behind her mother's leg, unsure what to do. She wanted to be brave. She wanted to take the picture. But her feet wouldn't move. And just when she was about to give up and walk away, something unexpected happened. Something so small, yet so powerful, that it changed everything. The crowd had begun to take notice. A few tourists nearby paused their conversations, watching the little girl fidget nervously beside her parents. A man holding a camera chuckled, whispering to his wife, "She wants the picture, but that guard must seem 10 feet tall to her." Lily's mother bent down again, gently squeezing her daughter's hand. "Sweetheart, you've been talking about this all week," she reminded her. "I know you can do it." Lily bit her lip, looking back up at the soldier. He hadn't moved even a fraction of an inch. His face remained completely blank, his stance as rigid as ever. Even though her mother promised he wouldn't react, something about him felt too serious. She imagined what would happen if she accidentally got too close. Would he suddenly turn his head? Would he say something? Her father gave her an encouraging smile. "Come on, Lily. Just one step forward. We'll take a quick photo, and then we can go get some hot chocolate." Lily stayed glued to the spot. She wasn't ready. A kind-looking woman in the crowd clapped her hands lightly, smiling at Lily. "You can do it, sweetheart. Just one quick picture." Another tourist, a young man with a British accent, grinned. "Come on, love. He won't bite." The crowd laughed gently, their voices warm and encouraging. Even though Lily appreciated their kindness, it didn't make her feel any less nervous. She slowly stepped one foot forward, her tiny sneakers scraping against the pavement. She was so close now. But the closer she got, the more anxious she felt. Her hands clutched at the fabric of her coat, her stomach twisting with nerves. Then, at the very last second, she froze again. Her breath hitched, and she quickly retreated behind her mother's leg, shaking her head. The crowd let out a soft, understanding sigh. A few people murmured, "Poor thing, she's just too shy." Lily's mother gave her a reassuring hug. "It's okay, baby. You don't have to if you don't want to." Her father smiled at her. "Maybe next time, huh?" Lily looked back up at the guard one last time, disappointment flickering in her eyes. She had wanted this moment so badly. But she just wasn't brave enough. Or at least, that's what she thought. Because just as she was about to walk away, something unexpected happened. Something so small, yet so powerful, that it changed everything. Lily's little fingers tightened around her mother's coat. She wanted to be brave. She wanted to stand next to the royal guard like all the other kids she had seen. But her legs wouldn't move. Her father knelt beside her again, his voice gentle but encouraging. "You don't have to be scared, sweetheart. He's just doing his job." Lily looked up at the towering soldier, standing as still as a statue. She glanced around at the other tourists, who were watching with encouraging smiles. Her chest rose and fell as she took a deep breath. "Okay," she whispered to herself. She slowly let go of her mother's coat and took a step forward. Then another. She was almost there. The crowd leaned in slightly, holding their breath as they watched her. Her father had his phone ready, waiting to snap the perfect picture. But just when she was about to reach the guard's side, she froze. Her stomach twisted into knots. Her tiny hands curled into fists, and she suddenly felt overwhelmed all over again. The royal guard was too still. Too serious. Too intimidating. She wasn't sure why, but she felt like if she got too close, something unexpected might happen. What if he suddenly moved? What if he turned his head and looked at her? She didn't want to do anything wrong. A wave of doubt crashed over her. Her heart pounded against her chest, and before she could stop herself, she took a step back. The crowd let out a sympathetic murmur. A few people chuckled softly. Her mother crouched beside her again, brushing a hand over her hair. "It's okay, Lily. You don't have to do this if you're too scared." Lily bit her lip, looking back at the unmoving soldier. She was disappointed in herself. She had been so excited for this moment, but now she felt like she was letting herself down. Her father lowered his phone. "We can try another time, sweetheart." The crowd began to lose interest, turning back to their own conversations. Lily let out a tiny sigh, feeling defeated. And then it happened. Something so small, so subtle, that no one else noticed at first. But she did. And it changed everything. Lily stared at the royal guard, her little hands still clutching the fabric of her coat. She wanted to be brave. She really did. But as she looked up at the tall, unshakable soldier, she felt her confidence slipping away. The crowd had started to turn back to their own conversations, assuming the moment was over. Her father put his phone away, ready to move on. And just as Lily was about to give up completely, it happened. Something so small, so subtle, that at first, no one else noticed. But Lily did. The royal guard, standing as still as a statue, did something that should have been impossible. For the briefest of moments, he tilted his head just slightly, just enough to acknowledge her presence. It was so fast, so controlled, that it was barely noticeable. But to Lily, it meant everything. Her eyes widened. Had that really just happened? Her little heart skipped a beat. She quickly looked around. Had anyone else seen it? Her parents were still focused on her, waiting for her decision. The tourists around them were still chatting, unaware. It was almost as if it had been meant just for her. A silent message. A tiny, secret sign that said, "It's okay. You can do this." And suddenly, Lily wasn't scared anymore. Her fingers loosened from her coat. Her little shoulders straightened up. She took one deep breath. And then she stepped forward. For the first time, her feet moved without hesitation. She walked confidently toward the towering royal guard, standing beside him at last. Her father, surprised by the sudden change, fumbled for his phone again. The few tourists who had been watching noticed the shift in energy. They saw the way Lily's face had gone from fearful to determined. A few nudged each other, whispering, "Look! She's doing it!" And then, as she reached her spot, standing just a foot away from the soldier, she smiled. A real, bright, fearless smile. Click. The camera captured the moment perfectly. And just like that, Lily had won her own little battle. Lily stood tall, her tiny frame now just inches away from the unshakable royal guard. The same soldier she had been too afraid to approach just moments ago. But now, she wasn't scared anymore. She grinned up at him, standing proudly in place. Her father, still recovering from his surprise, lifted his phone quickly. Click. The camera captured the moment perfectly. A little girl, who had once been too nervous to take a step forward, now standing confidently beside one of the most disciplined soldiers in the world. The crowd, realizing what had just happened, began to smile and clap softly. A few tourists who had been watching the whole time whispered to each other, "She did it. That was so sweet. Did you see that?" The guard gave her a tiny signal. A kind older woman standing nearby patted Lily's mother on the shoulder. "That's a moment she'll never forget." Lily turned back toward her parents, beaming with pride. Her father showed her the picture on his phone, and her eyes lit up with excitement. "Look, sweetheart. You did it." Lily giggled, bouncing on her feet. Her mother bent down, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I'm so proud of you, love. You were so brave." And then, just as they were about to turn and leave, Lily did something no one expected. She looked back up at the royal guard one last time. And with a sweet, innocent smile, she gave him a tiny wave. The crowd held their breath. Would he respond? Would this disciplined soldier, trained to stand still no matter what, acknowledge the little girl again? For a long moment, he remained as motionless as ever. But then, a miracle. The royal guard's fingers, gripping his rifle, shifted. Just a fraction of an inch. So small, so subtle, that most people wouldn't have noticed. But Lily saw it. A silent response. A quiet acknowledgement. And that was all she needed. With a final, glowing smile, she turned and ran back to her parents. As they walked away, her father looked down at her, grinning. "So? Was that as scary as you thought?" Lily shook her head. "Nope. He was nice." The crowd slowly moved on, but for those who had witnessed the moment, they knew. They had just seen something truly special. Something so small, yet so powerful, that it would stay in Lily's heart forever. This was one of the most touching moments ever captured at Buckingham Palace. Do you think the Royal Guard did it on purpose? Or was it just a coincidence? Tell us what you think in the comments below. And if this moment made you smile, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible real-life stories like this.